Hello again, everyone. It's This Week in Agribusiness meteorologist Greg Soulje. We're in for Max Armstrong. Welcome to Farm Progress Dateline Drought. Our coverage of the drought of 2012 is brought to you by Genuity Drought Guard Hybrids. Well, a fairly active weather pattern noted over the next 3 to 5 days with two significant moisture makers on the weather maps and charts. One feature heading across the far eastern part of the Corn Belt. High pressure building on in over the next 12 to 24 hours. Temperatures relatively close to seasonal norms, coming off 1/4 to 3/4 inch moisture, and some spots close to an inch across the far southern region of the Great Lakes areas, and some spots, would you believe, into the lower Ohio Valley on the heels of that weather system. And weak high pressure, another one west to east over the middle part of the week, generates a couple of outbreaks of good coverage. Shower and thunderstorm activity heading on through Tuesday and Tuesday night, basically west of the Mississippi, east of there in through Wednesday to Thursday, and really out of the far eastern Corn Belt come Friday. Again, good coverages, 1/4 to 3/4 inch amounts, maybe couple of severe storms as well. We're not out of that season. Significant pattern shift now. We turn those upper level winds in from the north and northwest, and we'll get a trough, if you will, that U-shaped configuration that you see on some of the TV broadcasts and our own very broadcast on This Week in Agribusiness that delivers air masses or moves air masses in this particular setup for the second half of the week and winding through the middle stretch of August. A cooler air mass and an upper air pattern from the northwest to southeast that keeps a series of cool fronts on the move. So while precipitation opportunities will be quite limited, a far better feel is expected, and it looks like we'll basically keep cooler weather across the Great Lakes region, and the far eastern areas of the Corn Belt build back warm through the second half of the month, and it looks like a corridor of more moisture, and that could very well take aim and get timed out just either side of Farm Progress show around the 28th, 29th, and 30th of August. We'll keep you posted on how rains play out over sections of the Midwest. In the meantime, here's how the feds take a look at it. Slightly overdone, but the general idea right here looks to be pretty good, with a push of cooler than average weather lined up across much of the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region. This may be slightly overdone, a little more optimistic. Don't think we have any real widespread frost or freeze. Can't rule out a patch or two right at the Canadian border and actually north of Lake Superior. Well, watch that here while heat builds up across the far west, the eastern states, but nothing really out of control there. Meanwhile, in the precipitation charts, the gauges will tip on an average and perhaps even below average scenario throughout much of the heartland, back to the west coast. Frequent moisture and maybe a tropical system or two, and at least a sizable upper trough moving through the southeastern part of the country. That's a check on weather. Now on to Bryce Knorr and a check on markets.
Grain markets sold off sharply Monday, with cooler and wetter weather this week combining with follow-through selling from Friday's week close to pressure prices. While rainfall totals this week won't be especially heavy in many areas, traders believe conditions are starting to stabilize as the growing season winds down. That hasn't happened yet for corn, however. Crop ratings out after the close showed more deterioration in the worst fields, knocking another half bushel off yield potential, which is now down to 115.6 bushels per acre, according to my yield model. Corn prices nonetheless came under pressure from Friday's bearish reversal lower today, which drove December futures down to its channel support line for the past month. Futures traded almost 7.5% below Friday's opening high, with December ending down 17 at 792 1/4. This morning's export inspection showed 22.3 million bushels shipped out in the latest week, above trade guesses, but less than needed to keep on track to meet USDA's forecast for the marketing year. China took another 7.6 million bushels, despite forecasts for a huge crop there this year. Soybeans led the market lower after holding up better on Friday. Demand isn't the problem. Export inspections were good for this late in the season at 15.7 million bushels, and China took more than half that total. Tuesday's crush report from the National Oilseed Processors Association is expected to be good as well at 132.5 million bushels, thanks to strong crush margins caused by a hot meal market. November soybeans tested $16 on the close, settling at $16.75, down 43 cents on the day. This afternoon, soybean ratings improved slightly, with the percentage of crop rated good to excellent up 1%. That adds only 0.2 of a bushel to yield potential, which is now around 36 bushels per acre nationwide. Wheat prices also fell today after Egypt bought Russian wheat at its first tender of the season on Saturday. That confirmed the availability of supplies despite talk of export limits, and Egypt's state buyer put out another snap tender today after the close. Wheat inspections today were reported at 22.2 million bushels, showing a little more strength lately. Still, prices ended lower at all three exchanges, breaking month-long support lines on the close. Chicago September ended down 28.5 lower at 856 3/4. Kansas City was down 28 1/4 at 864 3/4, and Minneapolis lost 24 1/4 to finish the session at 911 1/4. USDA reported the percentage of spring wheat rated good to excellent off 2% this week to 61%. That takes the average spring wheat yield down to 42 bushels per acre, over a half a bushel lower this week. Well, be sure to keep up with the latest on the drought situation across the country by visiting www.datelinedrought.com.